All right, folks, thanks for checking out the video. I want to talk today about a congressional hearing that took place this week on March 12th, 2024. And a number of Democrat witnesses were asked if only citizens should be allowed to vote in federal elections. And their answers were very telling, very telling. So from the Federalist here, headline says, not a single Democrat witness in Congress agreed only citizens should vote in federal elections. None of Democrats' witnesses in a congressional hearing Tuesday could say resolutely that they believe only citizens should be able to vote in a federal election. During a Senate Judiciary Hearing on the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, Republican Utah Senator Mike Lee asked the witnesses to provide a basic yes or no answer to a series of questions about non-citizens voting. Do you believe that only citizens of the United States should be able to vote in federal elections? Lee asked each of the witnesses. We don't have a position about non-citizens voting in federal elections. We believe that's what the current laws are. And so we're certainly fighting for everyone who is eligible under current law to vote. Well, that's a non-answer. Executive Director of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under Law, Damon T. Hewitt said, that's a decision of the state law, but I want to emphasize, President of Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, Lydia Camarillo said, it's a decision of state law as to who should vote in federal elections, Lee interjected. States decide who gets to vote in various elections, and in federal elections, I believe that we should be encouraging people to naturalize and then vote, Camarillo said. Okay, but you're saying that the federal government should have no say in who votes in a federal election, Lee pressed. I don't have a position on that, Camarillo responded. Director of the ACLU's Voting Rights Project, Sophia Lynn Lakin, told Lee, federal law prohibits non-citizens from voting in federal elections, and our focus is on enabling all eligible voters to be able to vote and cast their ballot. Only two witnesses, counsel at Public Interest Legal Foundation, Maureen Reardon, and manager of the Election Law Reform Initiative at the Heritage Foundation, Hans von Spakovsky, said they do not believe non-citizens should be able to vote. Both were Republican witnesses. Lee then asked all the witnesses whether people registering to vote should provide documentary proof of their citizenship in order to register to vote. Hewitt replied, the real question is how asking people to provide proof of citizenship affects them. I think your first question kind of answers the second. Based upon the applicable rules, federal or state elections, what have you, we know we have to follow those rules. The question is, what is the impact of those rules, he said in response. Camarillo called the question redundant and said, it's already being asked. Current federal law stipulates voters must simply check on a form that they are a U.S. citizen, but they do not have to provide any proof. That's true. Lakin flat out argued asking people to prove they are U.S. citizens to vote amounts to discrimination. Well, it does discriminate against non-citizens voting. Makes sense. Documentary proof of citizenship or requirements are often discriminatory, she said. Reardon and Spakovsky agreed voters should be required to prove they are citizens. Lee said he was troubled that not every witness could simply answer yes to both of his questions. The John Lewis Voting Rights Act seeks to federalize all elections by stripping states and local jurisdictions from making changes to their elections without approval from federal bureaucrats. If the legislation is passed, the U.S. Justice Department could essentially take over an election if its left-wing allies claim minority voters are being harmed by something as simple as requiring an ID or proving citizenship to vote. A federal judge recently ruled Arizona's law requiring individuals to prove U.S. citizenship in order to vote in a statewide election is not discriminatory and could proceed after leftists lodge a series of suits. Arizona's interest in preventing non-citizens from voting and promoting public confidence in Arizona's elections outweighs the limited burden voters might encounter when required to provide proof of citizenship, U.S. District Judge Susan Bolton ruled. So, I mean, with the ongoing, again, so-called migrant crisis, this is a very important topic because there's millions of people that have entered the country, and in some cases have been ushered into the country in the last 3 years. Okay, that's just a fact. All right, we're seeing this all over the country. We're seeing this in Texas, in New York, in Chicago, California, Arizona, New Mexico, everywhere. Okay, this is a 50-state problem now. This is not just confined to border states. This is not just confined to a handful of states. Okay, and the fact that these people couldn't even just say no, non-citizens shouldn't be allowed to vote. Period. Right? Now, some people will say, "Oh, well, there are no non-citizens voting." Really? Do you really think that? There are already a handful of states that allow illegal, not even non-citizens who are in the country legally, but illegal aliens to get driver's licenses. And in a lot of these states, when you get a driver's license, you are automatically registered to vote. Now they'll tell you that, oh, well, if you're a non-citizen, we're not registering you to vote. I mean, come on. Don't be naive, folks. Don't be naive. If you don't think that there are non-citizens voting in the United States now and in the past and will in the future, you're just completely naive. Now, I think if you're on my channel here, you probably would agree with that statement. And again, with the ongoing so-called migrant crisis, this is something that we're going to have to pay attention to. And I believe Democrats would want non-citizens to be able to vote. Why wouldn't they? Because 90% of them or more are going to vote for them. And they want to do anything they can, screw the citizens. Well, I mean, the people they're supposed to represent, well, they don't give a damn about you if you don't vote for them, right? And even if you do vote for them, look at all these Democrat cities and states. They're in the tank. They're going downhill. People are leaving these places. So anyways, I just wanted to point this out. This was one congressional hearing, but these people are not outliers. These people are not radicals. These people speak as mainstream Democrats in America. That's just a fact. So anyways, that's what I think. Let me know what you all think. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.